All right, here he is, Johnnie Dee from Honeymoon Suite. Johnny, what's going on?
Ah, geez, good to talk to you. What's all that stuff in the background? It looks like a lot of awards and stuff. What is it?
I wish. It's really just nerdy trinkets, music trinkets.
Music trinkets.
A lot
Looks
of
cool, whatever it is.
a lot of
Kind of see it.
Motley Crue toys and all sorts
Miley
of shit.
Miley Crew. Did you see? Oh, geez, the other night. What's that thing? I think it's about them, of course. I don't know how true it is. That program called The Dirt.
Yes, I've seen that many, many times.
What a freaking band. Totally not us. We're nothing like it, but it was a fun watch. It was like hilarious. It was so good. Anyways,
Yeah, it's insane. The book is crazy. Yeah, it's
even the book. Now, I have not read the book, but watching the program was pretty freaking wild.
Did you guys ever do any shows with them back in the day?
No, not them.
No.
How do you put Honeymoon Suite in front of Motley Crue? We've got in front of like Ted Nugent and all that sort of stuff, and it's really difficult. Honeymoon Suite, ladies and gentlemen, Honeymoon Suite, and it's like people in the U.S. is like Honeymoon Suite, like what is that, a rock band? Is that bar mitzvah or what is it? So we get up on stage and it's like, okay, these guys are rocking. Get 4 or 5 tracks in, and it's like, okay. Some people hated us when we played with Ted, but it was okay. Ted comes in, sorry about my crowd, man. And it's like, okay, Ted is fine. We did our job.
He's quite a character, huh?
Oh, he's a great guy. And like just so like for what he does on stage and for what he is like as a person, he's so nice. We're sitting in our change room, and I just said, Ted, some of those guys just friggin' hated us. And I was like, yeah, well, that's the way it goes. Cobo Hall, or I think it was someplace in Detroit, his hometown, and they put Honeymoon Suite in front of him. Anyways, we did it. Seen a lot of fingers, but Detroit is really close to Canada, like the Canada border is really close. So we had a lot of our fans come out to see us, so it made it through the show okay.
Yeah, I saw Ted Nugent like, I don't know, 10, 11 years ago, and
Really?
it was fucking awesome. He puts on a great
He's
show.
great. I live just outside of Niagara Falls, so Buffalo is close, right? And then
Yeah.
went to a lot of concerts. I've seen the guy. Ted Nugent comes on stage, and wow, the guy was just like everywhere, climbing on the trusses, the whole deal. Anyways, great performer, great guitar player.
So Honeymoon Suite has a brand new album, Alive, coming out on February 12th. I think this is what, the 8th studio record from the band?
If not, I'm not ready to count them all out right now because some of them got released in the U.S., some not. Yeah, it's about like 8, I would say.
There's 3 singles out now. The title track, Find What You're Looking For, and Tell Me What You Want. And it's really incredible to me how modern they all sound. And, Find What You're Looking For, of course, actually hit the top 40 on Canadian charts,
You got that.
which is,
Sorry, go ahead.
it's extremely uncommon and almost virtually impossible for, quote unquote, classic rock acts or bands that are on classic rock radio. I used to work at a radio station down here in the States. And, if AC/DC or whoever put out a new record, the station's still not going to play it. They're still going to play Back in Black, Highway to Hell, whatever it is. So the fact that you were able to chart this late, 40 some years into the career, to me, I think it's really just a testament to how important Honeymoon Suite is, especially in Canadian music history.
I just got to say thanks for everything you just said. As for classic rock radio playing our stuff, no, it doesn't happen. But it happened this time. We're just so appreciative that it did happen. Just let me say this. Like a lot of times they ask me to go into the radio station, right? And I'm going, okay, you got New Girl now. You got Wave Babies, Burning in Love. You got Feel It Again. What does it take? And I would go in there with my little flash stick, the stick or whatever. And I say, okay, here's something new. And if you want me to sit here, just go run it. And go, well, we have to go through our producers and all that sort of stuff. I said, you can do it. Anyways, the band told me nobody's going to play this. Anyways, the interviews that I did, going to the radio station, I made them spin it at least once, to let people know, yeah, we're still current. We're still making music. And for this record, it's basically just a takeoff for Honeymoon's people who like Honeymoon Suite. I'm sure they will like this Alive record.
Well, the song "Find Out What You're Looking For" has been out for, I don't know, I guess like 3.5 years or so at this point. "Tell Me What You Want," I believe, has been out even longer. I think that one
Right.
I saw came out in 2019. Why the long wait for the rest of the record? I'm sure that the pandemic had some sort of role
Well,
in all of this.
well, there you go. Well, first of all, we started recording this thing. Our producer, Mike Krompass, was in just outside of Nashville, and that's where we started. So we laid down all our beds. You know, I don't want to make excuses here, but then he moved to the UK. The pandemic hit, right? And it was like pretty crazy stuff. Like we couldn't fly to him. We started going in and out of studios, and we just wanted to make this record right. Yes, we did release those tracks that were done just to keep it going, kind of thing. Having people, yeah, we're doing a new record, and it took a little bit of time, but it's so many different variables. Started going. I couldn't get to the UK. I started doing vocals in smaller studios in Ontario, sending the vocals out, sending them back. And when you're doing that sort of stuff, it takes time. And it's like, Johnny, why don't you try this? Okay, Mike, I don't want to try that. So it goes back and forth. Sometimes to get a vocal the way you really want it, once you start sending tracks and the producer's not right there, Mike's not with us right there, or Derry's not with me, it gets tough, and sending stuff back and forth takes time. It's not the way we make records. So we've always got together, in 2 months together, and we're together. This online stuff, this is great that I'm talking to you. Don't take this the wrong way, but it's when you're writing, there's nothing like being in your face, having a guitar, and, doing that sort of thing. But it took time.
Well, yeah, because it would
Well
be
worth the time.
it's got to make it a lot harder to collaborate, and everybody's not right there to bounce ideas off of each other in the moment.
Yeah, exactly. Well, in the moment is exactly right. And Derry, the guitar player, lives in Illinois. No, everybody's so spread out, but we got it done, and we're, like every other band's going to say, we're really proud of this record.
I had a couple things I wanted to talk about Mike Krompass, but before that, while we're on the topic of the pandemic, I was reading that back in 2020, you guys had a lot of international touring. I think it had been a few years at that point that you were over in the UK and whatnot. But there was also a show I think you guys were going to do with Guns N' Roses, but that never got rescheduled, right?
Uh, that was Sweden Rocks, I believe. We did it. That was Sweden, which is a great show, by the way. But I think Guns N' Roses played a couple days later. So we were on, and there's so many different stages. And wow, I just remember that so well. It was like even people in front knew our band, and it was like everything was so heavy, like Guns N' Roses, heavy band. It was like Honeymoon Suite, maybe not so heavy, right? The guys in the band are going, why don't we change the set list up? I go, no, we ain't gonna do that, right? So it's like you play so kind of like a sweet song, like "Stay in the Light." A lot of sing-alongs that we do, and if I can get like 10 people who know the band, know the song, get them singing, it's fine. We had a good time.
But even being able to do things, festivals like that and stuff, just like charting again. I
Right.
think Honeymoon Suite really is an underrated band, and
Uh,
there's not a lot of bands that are in your position from the same time period that are still able to achieve and obtain some of these opportunities that you guys have had lately.
right. Well, thanks for saying out that. I appreciate it. You don't have to say that, but I do appreciate it, and it's our fans. I think what's kept us alive is guys like you talking to me, first of all, and then the support that we're getting. But at the end of the day, we got all right songs that people, can relate to, and everything's like simple. I'm not no hidden agendas lyrically or anything like that. It's fans, they keep us going. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here.
Going back to Mike Krompass, who produced the new record, how did that come about? Because he does have some history with rock acts, such as Theory of a Dead Man, which is, of course, another Canadian band, and Steven
Right.
Tyler, things like that. But a lot of his history includes, a ton of major pop and country artists. So how did that come about?
Okay, so Derry lives in Illinois. His daughter is Leah, whatever, was looking for producers somewheres in Nashville. and met up with Mike, and they got together. And anyways, Derry calls me up and goes, "Oh, I met this guy. His name's Mike Krompass." I go, "Derry, I know Mike Krompass. Mike Krompass played good. I did a solo record, Songs in D, and then I hired him to go do a couple shows. So I knew Mike. Anyways, Derry and him got along very well. I flew to Nashville. I flew to Tennessee. We got together, right? Me, Mike, and Derry. And Mike was going, "Well, so what kind of record do you want to make?" And I go, "Well, I want to go do something like we did on the Big Prize. I want horns. I want, all this sort of stuff." Anyways, we went to a studio, and we started recording. And Derry had this riff. Bow, 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 bow. It's a song called "Done Doing Me Now." Anyways, and like I told, like the night before, I said, "I need horns. I want it, like a Fairbairn record." Anyways, next day I go in his studio, and he's worked through the night, and bang, the drums are just so clear, the riff so clear, simple. And then the horns come in. It's like he's doing everything. I mean, that's kind of like how we met, kind of hit it off right away, musically, and we just kept going and going and going. And then, like I was saying earlier, it just got tough flying to wherever. He's a busy boy, so I remember going to Minnesota, I believe, just to do some vocals, while he was in a studio working with somebody else. "Hey guys, fly down. We've got some time after this session," that kind of thing. Derry and I get on a plane and do another vocal.
So this record really was made, all over the place.
Yeah, wherever we could, right? And it's like and we're always touring too, so we're always playing live. So we had the in betweens, and plus we did this record on hardly a no budget, right? So it was like money was an issue. I hate to use that pandemic as an excuse, but it was sure a knife in the side.
When you guys play, do you still like actually tour? Get in a van or a bus or whatever and go, or a lot of bands, similar to you guys. I know they do a lot of fly-ins, weekend stuff.
Right.
How do you guys do it?
We fly, mostly fly, and we get picked up, and sometimes all the venues are just a couple of hours from the airport. We do a string of shows, sometimes 4, 5, 6, sometimes just 3, sometimes just 1. So we're always playing. But as to what you said about buses, well, back when we first started touring, it was all buses, and it's like, as a singer, it's like you're having with a bunch of people wake up and I'm freezing. It's like we have air conditioning wars, right? And it's like so crazy. In those days, we would have to travel with the crew. Like there's always somebody from the crew who's coming on a bus, right? So we'd finish a show, we'd be there for like 3 hours in this bus before we can get into a hotel room. So let me say this, and I appreciate it so much, the fact that we've gotten to a place now where it's fly in, get picked up. We go in the night before, and we start off that way. I mean, we have to go in the night before because with all these delays, and sometimes the planes don't even fly. You're sitting at the airport, and it's like we got a show to do, and so we go the night before. So basically, to answer your question, we fly now.
I gotcha. Back to the one other question about Mike. When you're working with a guy like that, who, like I said earlier, a ton of history working with more, mainstream pop and country acts and things like that, is there ever any sort of, tension of like, dude, you're not really in this world, and we've been doing this since
No.
81. Like, we know what we want to do. Or in a way, since he's worked with so many mainstream acts, does he sort of help bring a little bit of a modern feel to what the band is doing?
Of course. Great question. Of course he has. But we work together. We never butted heads. It's the only thing with Mike is like I'm a one tracker, meaning that I'll get behind a microphone and I track, right? And if something's not right, then I'll do it again. And then that's pretty much it. Because if I don't get it the first time, second time, then I gotta wait, chill out, maybe come back the next day and do that vocal again. But the thing with Mike is like, okay, do it again. Really, Mike? You ain't gonna get any more. Maybe I will. Okay, I'll do it again. It's like, do it again. Oh, geez Christ, I'm dying here, Mike. Anyways, like I say, no butt heads, no whatever. He's a very meticulous worker. Now, vocally, what a vocal sound he gets. It was just a great atmosphere. And the only drag about working with Mike is a great guitar player, and so is Derry. And they always got their guitars around their around their shoulders. And it's like, I'll be doing a vocal. And suddenly I go, what are you guys doing? They start fiddling together, right? And they start exchanging riffs. It's like just crazy times. But it was so fun.
Do you anticipate another Honeymoon Suite record after this one, or could this potentially be the band's last album?
Oh, no way. If we got something to say, we're doing another record. If we got the songs, we'll do another record. But just to put out a record for no reason, that's not going to happen. We got something. If we got something good, Derry's going. Like I got some great songs already. Okay, Dermot. Like we got the Alive record to put out right now. Let's work on getting Alive, the actual title track. We want to play that live. Let's go. But as for another Honeymoon Suite record, like I say, if we got the songs, we'll do another one.
I want to go through the band's history just a little bit. So you you start the band in 1981. I think Derry ends up joining the band in what was like 1983 or something. He brings the song "New Girl Now" to you, and then how you guys kind of started taking off was that song. I believe ended up winning. It was like a contest that a radio station in Toronto was doing, and because of the popularity, that's how you get a deal with Warner Music, right?
Yeah. The actual radio station was Q107. We sent it in just because we were already playing this song in bars and it's like going over great, but we just sent it in like a simple demo and it won it. And even what can I say? We started sort of like creating a vibe. Like in those days, you're playing a bar and you're playing 3 days, and every night you're doing like 3 sets. So it's a matter of doing the first night doing well, second night better, third. But anyways, that's pretty much in a nutshell. When I met Derry, he had that song. He had that song in a bag. Of course, he was singing through a megaphone. I go, Derry, what are you trying to prove here? Anyways, I got behind the mic, did my thing, and it worked out really good. New Girl Now took off, doing all these shows. It's packed. Warner Brothers comes out. The guy's name was the A&R dude. His name was Bob Roper. And he goes, we want to sign you. And I go, well, don't give me no shite. Is this going to happen or not? He goes, Johnny, it's going to happen. I can call my mom now, Bob. He goes, you call your mom, so you're going to have to deal with Warner Brothers. Oh, okay. So then you got Warner Brothers Canada. I think it was We at the time, which is Warner's Electra Atlanta, right? So then, we had Canada signed, and then the U.S., signed, and it was like the rest of the world. So it's great.
I saw that you said in another interview a few years ago that when you listen back to that song now, you hear a little bit of nervousness in your voice. Is that was because, there's at the time there's so much excitement and nervousness that the band is finally starting to take off?
It's a good thing to be nervous behind the microphone. There's a few things that I did. You probably won't. Just before the solo, I go, no, I don't know. I said Joe for some reason. Who's my brother? Why would I do that? I have no idea. But just let me answer that. Yeah, it's good to be nervous sometimes. Like get up, get going. And I'm always ahead of the beat. Like drummers there's 3 places to play drums. It's like on, behind, and ahead. I'm always ahead for some reason, like a nervous sort of, thing ahead.
When you guys went in to do your second record, The Big Prize, I think I saw Derry say somewhere that he feels that up to this point, that is probably the best Honeymoon Suite record in terms of production. I think maybe even the songs. Do you feel the same way? I mean, obviously, just like the first record, it was chock full of hits.
Is it our best record? I don't know. They're all little babies to me. They're all different. This band, The Big Prize is Bruce Fairbairn putting all these different songs together, like from Feel It Again to What Does It Take? Bad Attitude, 3 like totally different songs, but some sort of gluing it together was great. Was it the best Honeymoon Suite record? No, I have to say, all our records are what they are. They are real. That's all I can tell you.
For when you guys had Ted Templeman do the third record, but in so many interviews I've watched with you when I got this scheduled, you speak so highly of Bruce, who did the second record. Why make the switch from Bruce to Ted from the second to third record?
Well, good question once again. Why make the switch? Well, a lot of business comes into play. Ted was Van Halen's manager, worked with Warner's had his own office at Warner Brothers, in Los Angeles. And we're getting songs like "What Does It Take" in movies. We just wanted to try something different, maybe a little bit heavier. And Ted opened that avenue up for us. And just let me say this: he was very like, "You guys do what you want to do. Start recording." Okay. You had Jeff Hendricks. His name was Jeff Engineer. Ted would walk in, say, "Hey, okay, that sounds really good. Keep it going. I'll see you in a couple hours." The thing with Ted, it just let us go. That Lethal Weapon song that was on that record, Racing After Midnight, was, "Johnny, I got this song for you. Sing it." I go, "Ted, like, come on. This is not Honeymoon Suite." He goes, "Whatever you want to do it." And Lethal Weapon, we recorded that track and it got into the movie. I thought very late, but you can see the song comes up the first Lethal Weapon movie. It comes in on the credits, but there's a lot of good things for us, and it was great to be in LA, and 2 months there. All a band being together.
I wanted to ask you about Lethal Weapon because, oftentimes when you get placements like that or in film or a TV show, I think you guys were in Miami Vice too.
Yes.
Obviously, generally they're big paydays, but outside of financial gains, how much does that really help the band in terms of, overall success and popularity?
Just a higher profile, that's about it. As for the money side of it, I don't see it. The Lethal Weapon track was written by Michael Kamen. It wasn't written by Honeymoon Suite. So it just hires the profile, which is cool. And it's really cool to sit back and watch a movie and have one of our songs in it.
I was reading, and admittedly, and I hate Wikipedia because it's so you never know if it's real or not. And
Exactly.
that was the only place that I was able to read anything about this. But I was reading that when you guys went into work on that third record, Racing After Midnight with Ted Templeman, that you were actually hit by a car and had to be in the hospital. But I couldn't find that anywhere else. Did that actually happen?
That actually happened.
Holy shit!
I went to the airport to meet someone, and I went out to move my car from the parking lot to get closer to the terminal or whatever. Bang! I got nailed. It's like, Jesus. I seen black. I was on the ground. I seen black. And no, how do I say that right? I was knocked out. My eyes come open up, and there's this cop yet yelling at this girl saying, "How could you hit this guy?" Whatever. Anyways, I was down on the ground. I said, "Officer, is my face okay?" He goes, "Your face is okay." And I'll tell you why I asked that. "My face is okay, but your leg is not." I looked at my leg and it was like going every which way. And anyways, yeah, I got hit by a car. And then I got fixed up real quick. Warner Brothers fixed me up real quick so I can go, get back on the road. It was like, I don't know, months, right? But yeah, it was I'm alive. I broke the windshield, by the way, with my back.
I mean, are you fully healed from that, or do you
Oh
do you
yeah,
still feel
oh
anything
yeah.
from
They
that, or
they
no?
fixed they tried to fix me up in Los Angeles, but they couldn't. So they sent me back to Canada. And Warner Brothers sent me out with this doctor. I believe his name was Dr. Hastings. He was the Maple Leafs, the hockey team doctor.
Oh, no
So he
kidding.
goes, "This is what we have to do." So they put this pin in my leg from my knee right down to my ankle, went right into the bone. And yeah, I wore that for like 2 years. Then they opened it up, screwed the damn thing up, pulled it out, and then I still got this pin about this long. But he fixed me up real quick. Actually, I drove him. We did a video I did it with a cast on, and it's called "Looking Out for Number One" off that record. And I said, I want to drive the motorcycle. "No, you can't for insurance reasons." I don't, whatever.
How,
Started it up and left. Whatever.
how much of an impact did that accident have on the record? Did it delay things, or did it change any of the songwriting?
No, the song was already in the bag. It was like pretty much already ready to go. I did all the vocals. I did the vocals like really quick. I like to once I can get guitar and bass and have keyboards, bang, I'm doing a vocal before they start, before things get kind of crazy. Adding more guitars, doing this and that, and then they start walking over me. That's why I get it done right away. So to answer the question, no, it really didn't, because the songs were already recorded and we already knew what we were, doing.
Moving forward into the '90s, there were a number of lineup changes with yourself and Derry really being only the only key members and constant members of the band. What happened there? Because obviously the '90s definitely a little bit of a tumultuous period
Oh
for a
yeah.
lot of bands from the '80s.
Tumultuous is a good word. I mean, we had finished our contract with our 10-year, whatever, so many records with Warner's. And it was a time where do they want to take on Honeymoon Suite? And basically the answer was no. And that's why no, because we're a melodic rock band. What I heard on the radio when bands were screaming and all pissed off at the world, and it was like, some great stuff came out of it. Don't get me wrong, but we were just not that band at the time. So Derry and I are sitting, going, well, maybe we're going to change it up. We're going to do our last record with Warner's, and so we just changed it up, and it worked for the record, but I just missed Dave and Gary, and it was like, we had to get the original band back together, and we did, and I'm glad we did.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how did the reunion happen, and when was that? Like the late 2000s or so?
I'm not sure. It was just a simple phone call. Say, hey guys, like we got to do this. We have to get back. We called Ray Coburn up, and it was Gary and Dave Betts and Derry, and we rented this little bar here in this little beach town, and we rehearsed for 2 weeks and went out, and it was just great. I mean, it's a family. It should be that way. And so this is the way we started, and this is, let's continue it on. So, and now that with the original lineup, except for Ray, who is always doing it. I don't know what it is about keyboard players, eccentric or something. What's the word? Anyways, Ray goes, well, I want to go try doing this. Anyways, we hired Peter Nunn, who's been with us for like the last 20 plus years, right? So the band is original. Peter Nunn's not going, I'm not original, but he's about as original as you can get. Trust me. Actually, it's Ray's cousin.
So when the reunion happened, there was no hesitation from anyone. It just kind of
No.
naturally came back together.
Yeah, and it's just all the good times we had. You're talking like 3 albums. You're talking like so many years together, right? And it was just that little change up that Derry and I wanted, and just to see if it worked. I mean, it worked. We got like "Say You Don't Know Me" was a hit off the Monsters record. There's some really good tracks on that, but it just wasn't the same, So it's like that one phone call, and we've been going ever since. And it's like we respect each other. It's great, And actually, I miss those guys. We're doing a show like in a week. We're going to start off this year in about a week. So if I'm away from them guys even for a couple of weeks. I miss them.
I was looking around. I wasn't able to find Clifton Hill or Dreamland on the streaming services. Why is it? I thought I saw that Clifton Hill was maybe reissued a couple years ago or something, but I couldn't find either of them on the streaming services.
Why they're not on stream, that you're getting into the business part of it, and why it's not streaming, or is it or isn't it, is not my kind of deal. I don't know why. There's a couple tracks that Warner's put out on records that are, why isn't the song like on the Spotify or anything like that? I go, I don't know. It's like I can't get into that sort of thing. But yes, we did do. We revisited Clifton Hill. We did actually remixed it, added a couple tracks acoustically, and with this new technology in the studio out there, they sent me a track. It's called "The House." And I'm going, holy, and it's like there was things in there that I never heard before. So we re-put it out. And if anyone's listening, of course people are listening, check it out. You got to find it somewhere.
You brought up your solo record, Songs in D, a little bit ago. I think that came out in '03 or something. And what I wanted to ask is, on that one, you actually use your real name
Yes.
as opposed to Johnnie Dee. Why is that?
Because I didn't want to hear. Well, first of all, you know that I started Honeymoon Suite, right? And this is Derry had moved to Illinois. He was always in Canada. He's Canadian, but his wife is American. So he had moved to Illinois, and we were separated. I had all these songs that I didn't even know that I had, and I started working with a guy named Rob Layla who would come to Niagara Falls, and before I knew it, I had like 16 tracks. But anyways, my real name, not to interfere with Honeymoon Suite, right? I wanted to go out and do shows, but every time I would go do my real name show, as soon as I would pull up, it would say Honeymoon Suite on the marquee, and I go, no, this is not it, you know. Then it's like I couldn't do it. And it's like the Honeymoon Suite is doing arenas. I'm going into these little venues. And then it got to the point, well, no, we just had Johnnie Dee here. Why are you going to play this arena? He's already been here, you know. So it kind of interfere.
Were you doing were you doing Honeymoon Suite songs on your solo tour?
Yes, yeah, well, yeah, we did New Girl, a few of them, but just because people would ask, "Hey, the New Girl now?" Okay, you guys, come on, New Girl now. You know, they wanted to hear it, so we do it, and we do that live a lot too. It's like, you get a crowd of people is like yelling out "Lethal Weapon," and I go, "Oh no." Lethal Weapon after Bad Attitude. All right, guys, when you lose your love, you know, it's like, do it. It's like you're not making records on stage. It should be a fun time, right? So yeah, I did some Honeymoon Suite stuff.
Well, following the release of the new record Alive here in a few weeks, what does Honeymoon Suite have coming up for the rest of the year?
Just well, hopefully get these songs into the set list. It's going to be it's going to be a busy summer. I mean, with everything that's going on, there's a bunch of things that I see. I see Cuba. I see these boat cruises where there's a bunch of bands who play, which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
You know, you got to spend like 5 days or 6 days on these things, but you see people from all over the world and you play with some great bands. So there's going to be a lot of touring, and that's what we're going to be doing.
Well, make sure you check out Alive when it comes out on February 12th. Johnny, thank you so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate your time. And
oh, geez.
Hopefully check out the band on the road. Hopefully you'll be in Ohio at some point.
If we're in the area, please come on out. I want to meet you. That's okay. So thanks for this. Like, thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, man, for sure. Thank you again, and we'll talk soon.